We are the Smiths. I am Matt, and this is my smoking hot wife, Monica, right here. And right now, we just want to share with you a journey we're going through. We are in the huge change in our life, going through a huge change in our life, and we're in the process of building our own tiny house. For those of you that don't know what a tiny house is, it's essentially the average size is around 250 square feet. And it has everything a regular house does, but just in a smaller space. So this was kind of a tough decision for us. Not so tough for Monica because she's a little shorter, but it's a normal house for her. But essentially, it was going to be a tough decision. We actually got told about this tiny house from my sister Lauren, who's in the pre-DC program right now. And when she told us about it, she's like, I'm going to build this tiny house. We were like, Lauren, that's awesome, that's amazing. But behind her back, we're like, oh, no way we could do that.
No way.
Absolutely no way. But as time went on, the weeks went by, and we started getting these signs. We started getting these tugs and these pulls in the direction towards this tiny house journey. And over the last year or so, Monica and I have really worked hard on really trusting in our innate and listening to God in the direction that He's leading us.
So I know this sounds crazy, so just look at this house and raise your hand, be honest, if this is crazy that we're doing this and you can never imagine yourself doing it. Okay, yeah. So let me put some things into perspective for you. So we decided to do this because next year Matt and I are moving to San Francisco to open our practice, and we're so excited. So we're researching on the internet just small bedroom apartments in San Francisco, and we just could not believe the price that we saw. And we calculated that within 10 months of living in San Francisco in a tiny one-bedroom apartment, it would be more expensive than to build and own our own tiny house. So we were like, yeah, absolutely. And not to mention that soon after we graduate, we're going to have 2 sets of student loans to pay back. So at that point, it was totally a no-brainer. But really the main reason why we decided to do this tiny house is that we were ready to get rid of our stuff. Just get rid of all this stuff that we never use and we don't need, and really commit to living that simple life of only using things we absolutely love and need.
So we decided we're doing this tiny house, obviously. And as Monica said, the first step that we needed to do was get rid of our crap. We looked at our house, and we had a lot of stuff that we just hadn't used in forever and that we wouldn't be able to fit into this house. So we did some winter cleaning in January, and we decided to get rid of a lot of clothes, a bunch of papers from school that we thought we might use, a bunch of knickknacks here and there. And we started compiling them in boxes and garbage bags and started putting them at the front door because we were going to take them to either Goodwill or to the dumpster down the road. Obviously in our house, I'm the trash man, so I get to carry all the trash. So I'm taking it in my car and down to the dumpster. And probably around my 2nd or 3rd trip, I'm holding these bags and I'm walking, and I'm like, I just have this thought, this feeling. I'm like, man, this stuff is heavy. This stuff is really, really heavy. This is a lot of physical stuff that we're about to get rid of, that we weren't using, that wasn't serving us, and we're just letting it go. And now that was a physical weight, that was physical stuff that we had in our house. But when we got back in our house, I can't explain it to you any other way, except it was lighter in our house. It was so freeing to be in our house. It seemed like there was so much more room. It was a truly liberating process to get rid of all this stuff that we just wasn't serving us, that we weren't using, and just give it away. And honestly, we talk about it, we don't miss it at all. We don't even remember what we got rid of.
Yeah. So we understand that's physical weight, but I think everyone understands what emotional weight is. That stuff that we're hanging on to, and it's hanging on to us, and it's just weighing us down. And Dr. Rossi spoke about it yesterday. It's our baggage, that stuff that we haven't processed yet and let go of. And really, it's not physical weight, but it's really exhausting, and it's heavy, and it just does not serve us as people.
So we're building our house in Florida because my grandfather lives there, and he's done construction for over 30 years. It's been a huge blessing to have him along this process because it's gone so much quicker than we could have ever anticipated. So I'm at the airport, actually 2 weekends ago. Monica was still in school, so she wasn't with me. And I'm sitting in the airport, I'm looking on my phone, I'm looking at a few articles waiting for my flight. And my phone is acting super slow, and it's really frustrating because there's nothing, I can't look at anything. I was actually glad Monica wasn't there because I always keep all of my apps open and I never delete them. So when I delete them, there's like 50 of them. So I started deleting all the apps.
It's really unnecessary.
It is. And I actually I deleted a bunch of messages because messages take up a lot of storage in our phone. And same thing with emails. And I had like 2,000 photos that were already backed up on my computer. And so I didn't need them. So I got rid of like a bunch of photos and kept a few. And a crazy thing happened. I got rid of all that stuff on my phone. I got rid of storage, cleared up some space, and my phone started working faster, started working more efficiently. Now, it's cool to think about that with the phone, but that's really how we work as humans, you know? We have a certain processing capacity. We have a certain processing capacity within our nervous system. And our nervous system is getting bombarded every day with millions and millions of bits of information that it takes in and uses and processes for our growth and evolution as human beings. Now, if we have this emotional baggage that we talk about, essentially what emotional baggage is stuff that we're processing over and over again and not using for our growth and evolution. And still, we're hanging on to it. So if we're hanging on to this stuff, this baggage over and over again, how well do we think that we're processing our current environment, our current experiences? Probably not very well, because we're using so much storage and we're using so much for that we can't be completely present in our present. Can't be completely present. And that right there is the purest form of subluxation.
So when I first heard the 3 T's of subluxations, thoughts, toxins, and traumas, I looked at thoughts and I was like, oh yeah, like of course we need to have a positive attitude. That made sense. And I kind of just moved on from my life at that point. But I don't think we did, or anyone really understands the weight and importance that emotions hold within our body until we learned about it and truly experienced the freedom of letting it go. So this last year, Matt and I have really delved into our emotions, and it's become a passion of ours, and we just want to share it. And we've learned that through Canis Pert that neuropeptides in our body carry emotional messages. So whenever we think a thought, it creates a feeling or an emotion, and then in return, a chemical is released to every single cell within your body. So a thought's just not a thought. Thoughts change our physiology. Thoughts change the chemistry of our body. So we all have those times when we're just thinking these thoughts we don't want to think about, or these emotions that we're feeling, and so what do? We naturally just kind of shove it under the rug and just not deal with it. That's just what we do. It's easier. But that becomes very dangerous, because when you suppress an emotion is your body trying to tell you, let's deal with this, let's move and grow and evolve as a person. So when you suppress it, it gets stored deep within your body and really becomes an interference to that natural flow of innate. And I think it's very vital as people, and especially chiropractors, that we become aware of this and really take action towards getting rid of our own shit, getting rid of our emotional baggage that we just don't need, and really take action and work towards becoming that clear vessel that we aim to be. And you know, the most beautiful thing is that as chiropractors, we have the responsibility and the privilege to be facilitators of the healing process. So however deep you go within yourself is however deep you can go within each and every person on your table. The availability you have becomes bigger. And there's just no other profession we'd rather be in, and so we just want to work towards being that clear channel. Oh gosh. So we want to work towards being that clear channel.
There's a
My
hole
heel
back
slipped
here.
in the back.
So what is it, guys? What is it that's holding us back from reaching our fullest potential? You know, we're all individuals, so we all have our own stuff, and let's really be truthful with ourselves. You know, guys, I'm especially talking to us, because when we talk about emotions, men, we seem to think that if we talk about our emotions and our feelings, you know, it's weak. Mm-hmm. But guys, it takes a huge, huge strength to be honest with yourself and honest with your loved ones and really deal with something that you haven't dealt with in a long time that's limiting you from being that clear vessel, being that clear channel. And guys, it seems like when we start to get rid of baggage and start getting rid of this stuff, more stuff pops up, more stuff comes up. But that's how life works. I really believe that when we get rid of this stuff and more stuff comes up, that's just another opportunity for us to grow and evolve and become the people that we're supposed to be. And when we start getting rid of that baggage becomes lighter and lighter, and we become more free. Guys, thank you so much, and we love you all.
Thank you.